children. Welcome my mom, Miss Joy Tayaban.
So, are you ready?
Yes, it's
time! My name is JJ.
My name is JM.
My name is Job. My name is Jay.
And my name is Jamie.
And welcome to It's Time Financial House. So, are you ready?
Invest in the stock market so that you'll become rich.
I know it's unconventional, it's not traditional, but it works. Plan, build, secure.
Thank you.
Do you want to become a super manifester? This March, Coach Marc Wynn will teach us how here in WoW.
So I'm really excited that I'm going to be able to teach you this skill. It's a skill on how to be a super manifester. And over the course of the next 5 weeks, I'm going to take you on some amazing journey. But I'm going to give you the spiritual knowledge as to why things work. So when you put them into action, they'll happen. So we're going to deal with divine connection. We're going to deal with self-empowerment, how you can take control back over your lives. We're going to deal with money and getting new clients. We're going to deal with love and happiness. And then I'm going to tell you the one big secret that you must know. And this will totally transform your life. And it will make all your manifestations like that, boom, and they just happen. And you'll go from wherever you are in your life to suddenly smiling and being excited because you've got all this stuff magically coming in. This is like a magic formula. And I know this works because I've proven it to work with me and over 20,000 people around the world. And you'll be amazed what you see will happen.
So get your fill of wisdom every Wednesday.
It's time.
There's a secret to success everybody hopes to find. There's a key to the world, and it's mine, all mine. There's a world of opportunity filled with possibility and dreams that I'm gonna find. I got a millionaire mind. I say yes. I say yes to success. I got a millionaire mind. I say yes. I say yes to success. I've got a blueprint for the future, brand new design. I'm playing at the money game, winning all the time. There's a world of opportunity filled with possibility and dreams that I'm going to find. I got a millionaire mind. I say yes. Oh, I say yes to success.
Hello.
Hello, everyone, and good afternoon. Before we start, let's begin with a prayer in the name of the Father, of the Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen. Dear Lord, thank you for another WoW session today. We pray that everyone who listens will be inspired to take action and change their lives for the better, so we will all have a great 2021. All of this we pray through Christ our Lord. Amen. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Good afternoon, everybody.
I'm Jesse.
Joey.
I'm JJ.
I'm JM.
I'm John. I'm Jake.
And I'm Jamie.
And welcome to It's Time Wow!
Wisdom on Wednesdays.
Your weekly dose of wisdom.
So, for this month of March, we have a special guest who will teach us the secrets to manifesting our dreams and goals. This is going to be a series of talks. It will be an amazing journey for all of us to manifest our desires. Today, he will discuss self-empowerment, and he is going to give us one powerful and quick technique to take back control in our life. Are you excited? Because we are. So, without further ado, let us start with the 9th episode of Wisdom on Wednesdays.
Our guest speaker's story is both interesting and exciting, and he hopes that will be an inspiration for other people to transform their lives. He had been following a spiritual path, believing he understood how the law of attraction works, yet he was manifesting more and more problems, and his life was just getting worse. But on the 19th of January 2015, what he learned changed his life. He discovered how the 1% physical world and 99% spiritual world work hand in hand, and how to use spiritual solutions to solve physical problems, whether that be health problems, relationships, confidence, or even money issues. Calling himself the manifestation guy, his teachings are based on self-verification, where he explains a concept and gives all his clients a technique for them to self-prove that it works.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Coach Marc Wynn.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Wisdom on Wednesday once again. And we have, of course, Coach Marc Wynn, who will continue the manifesting series with us. And for today, he's going to be talking about self-empowerment. Welcome, Coach Marc Wynn.
Hi, it's a pleasure to be with you again.
All right, I'll get right into it. What is self-empowerment?
Oh, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you somebody else's definition of self-empowerment, if I can, just off the back of my phone. To be able to do something and have more self-empowerment, you've got to know what it is. The general meaning of self-empowerment is taking control, that's the key word, of your life, setting goals, and making positive choices. Choices is the next key word. Basically, it means that we have to understand our strengths and weaknesses and have belief in ourselves. Self-empowerment is about being in control of our lives. And the problem is, most people during the course of their lives, because of the way events unfold, and I know this from my life, they give away this thing called control. And because they have no control over their lives, or in different areas, so we're talking about health, money, relationships, primarily confidence, what happens is, because they have a lack of control, then they have no motivation. Because they have no motivation, it's like being in a boat but going backwards in terms of going forwards where you want your life. So that's the definition of self-empowerment.
And why do you think is it important to have self-empowerment?
In life, we have a choice, right? The fifth universal law is called choice. So you can be one thing or another. You can be happy or sad. You can be in control of your life or have no control in your life. And if you've got no control over anything, it just means that your life then has very little direction. But from like who we are as human beings, it's kind of like a horrible thing that you feel like you're unable to do things or go places, and everything that happens is outside of your control. And if you're in a life that's, as I was, where you're constantly facing problems and pressure, and you have this going wrong and that going wrong, and it's because you have no control, then it basically means, your life in terms of its value drops and drops and drops and drops. And then, of course, what then happens is people then feel sad, they feel demotivated, they start feeling depressed. And because if you're focusing on these things, because we know how life works, life being one great big mirror, if you're focusing on being depressed and life being too hard and it's a challenge and, oh, what am I going to do? I've got these problems. Then what you do is you create more of that into your life. So it's like a kind of spiral that goes down and down and down and down and down until you reach a point where it's totally crap and it's a horrible place and it's called rock bottom. See, this is why if you look statistically, and I'm not sure about the Philippines, but most countries around the world, 10% of their populations are on antidepressants, right? Every single day. You know, in the UK, I think the number of prescriptions put out a year was over 100 million prescriptions. In America, it's far more. So if you can imagine, in America, they have something like over 30 million people daily are having to take a pill because they're unable to face life. It's too much. And so that's where you end up. You end up in this place where you become reliant on pills just to keep you going because they've got no control. And so therefore they have no self-empowerment. So that's what happens. If you have no self-empowerment, you go down and down and down.
So I think it has something to do with what you have discussed last week when we have to feel responsible for our life, right?
Oh, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Well, the way I work is, which is different to a lot of people, is when people have a physical challenge, a physical problem, what they try and do is they try and deal with it with a physical solution, right? So this is like taking a great big rock and you push it uphill, and it's really, really hard work. Whereas I deal with spiritual solutions because we're only 1% of everything, and the other 99% is the universe, or it's the spiritual world, or God, depending on how you want to look at it. And if you use spiritual solutions, you can solve everything quickly. And I'm going to, during the course of this, take you through a technique which I created, which in 20 seconds will take you from a place down here where life can be tough or crap, you know, being perfectly honest, and you're out of control and you've got no self-empowerment, to a place up here where you feel amazing. And because you can feel the difference from down here to being up here, you'll want to be up here all the time. So you're going to start to take control back. So what I'll do is I'll give you an example, or a few examples, of the difference between spiritual solutions and physical solutions, so you can see how it works. So if you take a person and they're feeling down, right? They're upset about things in life, and life's get hard, and they go to the doctors, using this example earlier on, and they say, right, give me a pill, give me an antidepressant, right? Give me something to make me feel better. That's taking a physical problem and attaching to it a physical solution, which is a pill. And that person then becomes reliant on that pill. But what that person does is they've given an element of control of their health away because they're now reliant on a pill. The spiritual solution says, well, let's find out what's making you unhappy and let's deal with it. So, which is what we're going to do today. So let's take you from this point where you're unhappy and put you back in control. So in relationships, which can be with a partner or your boss, what people do, and I'll explain how this works from an energetic point of view, is they try and please the other person. You know, they see the boss and the boss wants you to be a certain way and talk a certain way. So you try and change who you are to be how you think they want you to be, right? You know, so this can be with your partner, your husband, your wife, or whoever. And so what you do is you give away a little bit of control over who you are in terms of your relationship. You know, with money, you could manifest money, or you could choose to go to the bank and put it onto your credit cards and borrow more money. I'm going on holiday, rather than create the money and pay for the holiday. People go, right, let's stick it on the credit card. And so what happens is you become less in control, less happy, less fulfilled, less self-empowered. And it's almost like you become a shadow of yourself. And so therefore, rather than being vibrant and exciting and we're going to do this and we're going to do that, you then become quieter and more reclusive, and because you have no control. So you have no self-empowerment. So you've got no excitement in your life. And this is what happens. So this explanation between what is a spiritual solution, which is take back control, look after yourself, and the physical solutions, which what people do, is the difference between having a wonderful life and having a life that's sad. You're less than who you want to be. And so self-empowerment, which is what we're going to do today, is all about taking it back, because we've given it away. We've given it away. We've given it to this person. We've given it to that person without realizing it. So what I'm going to do with you when we get to this point during today is I'm going to do this exercise, and we're going to do it together, and everyone that's watching can follow and join in, and within 20 seconds, bang, you can go from wherever you are, however you're feeling, even if it's pretty good, you can feel absolutely incredible, like right up here, from 0 to 100, from like 50 to 100. And because you're going to be back in control. And because you're back in control, you can then make a choice going forward. Because when something happens and you feel, I don't know, crap or down, you can take yourself back up again.
It seems that you're already an expert in this topic. I was wondering, have you ever lost your own self-control? And if yes, can you take us back into that time when you did?
Yeah, okay. So I'm probably the same as a lot of people, and I was giving self-control away for years and years and years and years. But I hit rock bottom in 2015 where the whole of my life was terrible. Seriously in debt. It's about $50,000 in debt. 3 months behind with my credit cards, my energy bills, my mortgage. My marriage of 16 years had collapsed. I had depressed, right? I had health problems, like 16 operations on my vocal cords. And it was only because I hit rock bottom, I hit this place where I had to stop and look and see where I'd gone wrong. And it's only because I hit rock bottom and I could look back the way, I realized that I'd given self-control, my control away to other people for years and years and years. Relationships, bank managers, business partners, I mean, you name it, I'd given it away. And you reach a point where life gets so hard, so difficult, but we think our lives are just normal. Like in my family, for example, for me, I can go out and spend, say, £100 on dinner, right? That's normal. But I've got other members of my family that have no money. So going out and spending £10 on dinner is normal for them because they have no money. And then I've got other members of my family that will go out and spend £1,000 on dinner, right? And socializing. And they think that's normal. So you have 3 different people and 3 different normals. And it's just what we happen over our lives turns us into who we are now. So, yeah, so it was like 2015, I had to take control back. And I took control back because I realized I'd given it away. And so so anyone's going to watch this, do this exercise that we're going to do, because it's only by realizing, by doing the exercise and feeling good, that you'll realize that you're actually down here as opposed to being up here. We all think down here is normal. And it's only when you take control back and you suddenly feel how good it is that your life becomes incredible. It's like me being in a car with a windscreen that's really, really dirty, and I stop and I get out and I clean it, I clean it, and I clean it, and I clean it. And then I suddenly see that the vision is amazing. Whereas before, I just thought it was normal, even though it was totally smudged and dirty. So I've had to learn everything the hard way. And it's only from learning that and then working on myself that I've been able to create all of these techniques that I then give to people. The teachings that I give, the coaching that I provide, is self-verification. There's 2 types of knowledge. Read it in a book, watch a video, and that's called intellectual knowledge, right? And you go, that's great, that's great. But it's only when you have to do it yourself, you can self-verify that it works. So I give people stuff to do that's quick, it's easy, and because they do it, and because they feel better, because they feel in control, because they feel self-empowered, they go, I get it. And this is the 80%. So 20% of it is intellectual knowledge, which is useful, but at the same time, it's useless unless you self-verify, unless you make the changes yourself. And that's what people do. They'll go, right, I'm going to watch this, I'm going to read this book, they'll take on the knowledge, and then they'll do nothing with it. And their lives will continue going in the same direction. Whereas you've got to be over here and say, right, I'm going to have a go at doing that. I'm going to feel the difference. And because I can evaluate the difference, because I've got self-verification that it makes my life better, I'm now going to implement those changes. And that is the difference.
Well, what happens in people's life if they lose self-empowerment?
If you lose self-empowerment, it means that you're giving control away to other people. So if you're constantly going to the doctors and saying, give me another pill for this, give me another pill for that, what you're doing is you become totally reliant on another person, the doctor, or totally reliant on the pills. If those pills were to stop for whatever reason, can you imagine a person saying, oh no, I needed those 5 pills I was having every day. If I don't get those 5 pills, my life's going to be a total disaster. It's going to be a nightmare. That person's going to go into panic. That person's going to become more depressed. So it's going to affect their mental health because they've given control away to other people and they're unable to fix their own selves. So for example, if you get a pain in your body, it's simply because you're out of balance somewhere in your life. So for example, back pain is a lot to do with the emotions that you are feeling with regard to other people. So in other words, instead of telling someone how you feel, you fail to tell them, you store the emotion in your body, it goes into your back gets sore. So you have a choice. Do you go to the doctors and say, give me some pills for my back pain? Or do you turn around and go, okay, so who am I upset with? How do I deal with that? Let me go and speak to them, tell them my truth, even if it upsets them. And then you release that energy. And I have done this on loads and loads of occasions and solved tons of health problems, and just with myself, but with other people. And that problem, like the back pain, it just disappears. And you go, wow, I created that to happen. Because I can do that, I have no need to go to the doctors. So I retain self-control. So therefore I feel stronger. So therefore I feel more empowered. And this is the same. This happens with, your boss. So if you're constantly doing what they tell you to do and you've got a different idea and your ideas are really, really good, you start to give away control. And then suddenly at an emotional level, you become less and less and less. And then you start holding on to all these ideas and things in your head. And, we could have been so much more successful. I could have made more money if we did it this way. And then it develops into resentment or maybe anger or bitterness or something like that. At an emotional level, you become a lot weaker, but your financial success is a lot less as well. So this is what I'm saying. It's like when you take back control, suddenly you realize how strong you are as a person. You can then sit down with your boss and say, well, look, okay, that's a good way. Can I show you another way? Now, the fact that you've expressed that means that you've retained control of the situation. It's up to your boss which way they want to go, but because you've expressed it, you've retained control. Even if the boss goes down the other way, and let's say it's not as successful as it should have been, you still feel good because you knew what you did was right. And this is a self-empowerment thing. It's all about how you express yourself by retaining control of the situation, as opposed to kind of like just being whoever everyone else wants you to be, and you give your control away to them. Like, so if you kind of think of life as being a bully, and life's pushing you around, if you stand up to life, then you retain your inner strength. If you just accept life as being a bully pushing you around, you become less and less and less. The value of your life becomes less. You receive less things because you're focusing on problems. And then you kind of go, what's the point in living when your life has less value than what it should do?
All right. How do we get it back? How do we get self-empowerment back?
Brilliant question. So I'm going to take you through an exercise just now. And this exercise, what it does is it allows you to feel the difference from where you are right now to being in control. Okay. So this control thing is self-empowerment. And even if you think you're in control of your life, when you do the exercise, you'll suddenly realize the difference between being down here and being up here. Okay. And it's only by doing this that you're able to test this self-verification thing as to how good you feel. Because most people, they live their lives and they're either miserable, or there's no life, or there's no excitement, or there's no energy. So it's like, yeah, everything's okay, and I'm going to go and do this. Well, you get other people that walk into the room and genuinely they're excited to be alive, and they're like, yeah, come on, folks. There's no falseness to them, because a lot of people can put on that kind of like, come on, everybody get up and clap your hands sort of thing. They feel good about themselves. They feel full of energy. They love life. They love themselves. And because of all of that, they have retained control over their lives. They have self-empowerment. And then because they're in that place, all this good stuff keeps on coming into them. So you get two people in an office. one who feels really, really good and happy, and one that's quite miserable, both think they're normal, but the one that's really happy, full of life, keeps getting more and more work and more business, more and more promotions, more and more success. And the one down here fails to understand why they get none of that. And the difference is that one's in control and that one's given away control. So we're going to do this exercise, and it allows people to feel the difference between where they are and what it's like to be back in control. And if you can feel the difference, then you have a choice. Universal law number 5. You can choose to be down here and stay down here, and whatever that means to you, or you can choose to be up here. And if you choose to be up here, then doors will open up and opportunities will come into your life. And then your life gets better and better and better and better. Okay, so do you want to do this exercise?
Yes, sure.
Right, okay. So the way this works, it's dead simple. It involves about 5 or 6 sentences. And what will happen is I'm going to do this with you, and we're going to do it maybe 2 or possibly 3 times. And I'm just going to give you a sentence, and then you're going to repeat it back to me. Okay. And then what's really important is the sentences are really, really short, and it's like you're making a statement. Or imagine like being on a stage. These words are like really, really important, because what you're doing is you're taking back control. So the more passion that you can put into them, the better it is. And when we get to the end, I know this is going to sound nuts, right? When we get to the end, we give ourselves a big round of applause. You know, almost like, you know, you're on stage, you've done the speech, and people go, wow, that was fantastic. What you're doing is you're kind of applauding yourself for having achieved something. I know it sounds nuts, but this works really well. Now, anybody that's watching this, you should really do these out loud. So, you know, you maybe you're driving to work, you're in the shower, you know, you're feeling down, you're in the house on your own. Do them, right? If you want to do them in front of other people, that's great. If there are people around you and you're like, you can do them in your head. They are nearly as good, but you can do them quietly in your head just to kind of give yourself that boost, and maybe just a quiet kind of like round of applause at the very end, right? The round of applause is really important, right? Trust me. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you a sentence, and then you're going to say it back to me, right? And then we'll go around this technique once, and then we're going to do it a second time. And then the second time, I'm going to show you how to do it with even more energy, right? So first sentence, right, Joey, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Ready. So the first sentence is, this is my life.
This is my life.
I am in charge of my life.
I am in charge of my life.
I am the boss of my life.
I am the boss of my life.
And life will do what I tell it to do.
And life will do what I tell it to do.
This is my life.
This is my life.
I am in charge of my life, and I feel strong.
I am in charge of my life, and I feel strong.
And then, right, okay, so that was really good, okay? We're going to do it a second time, but there's more emotion, more, yeah, come on, this feels really good, right? More kind of even self-empowerment that you put in. And then you can take it up a notch and up a notch, right? So with this time, I want you to think of some of the individual words. So this is my, right? Emphasis on my life, right? So imagine someone's taken something from you and you're like, no way, no more, never again. I'm taking this back. I am the boss of my life, right? Where that bully's been coming into your playground and been pushing you around for like too long. And you're like, no more. Today is the day, and I'm taking it back, right? And so with this second round, we're going to do exactly the same thing. I'll give you the sentence, and then just put some more emphasis in certain words, like my life, and then just kind of like, yeah. If you do that, we're going to take it up even another notch, where it's going to be stronger. Right, so you ready? So here we go. This is my life.
This is my life.
I am in charge of my life.
I am in charge of my life.
I am the boss of my life.
I am the boss of my life.
And life will do what I tell it to do.
And life will do what I tell it to do.
This is my life.
This is my life.
I am in charge and I feel strong.
I am in charge and I feel strong.
There we go. Good. How do you feel?
I feel empowered.
Empowered. Brilliant. Right. So you can feel the difference from like wherever you were, and then
Right.
suddenly you're up here, right?
That was a very powerful technique, Mark, and I'm pretty sure our family would love it. The kids would love it, especially the incantation. They love it. But how often should we do it?
At the beginning, I would do it first thing when you wake up. And then I would probably do it maybe 3-4 times during the day, just to get into the habit of doing it. You can do it more. You could set your phone. I always set my phone for an alarm that goes off on the hour every hour. So maybe over 10 hours during the day. And when it goes off, that alarm reminds me I've got to do something. I've got to feel more excited, remind myself about what my burning desire is. Or I ask myself, do I feel in control? And if I'm feeling at that moment, no, I do this 20 seconds, that's all it is, exercise. So I would say at the beginning, do it in the morning when you get up, because then you feel strong. Do it maybe 3-4 times a day, or do it when something happens and then you're like that, bleh, right? You go, oh, you get these bad thoughts come into your head. Do it immediately and take yourself from wherever you are place-wise back up to here. And because you do that, you'll feel strong, you'll feel empowered, you'll feel in control. And that gives you the choice going forward, how you want to feel. Where do you want to be, down here? Or do you want to feel really good up here? And I would do that for the first week, see the benefits, and then it's up to you how more you want to do it afterwards. You can either continue on that kind of plan, or you could simply just say, well, I'm going to do it when I feel down, when I have a bad thought. That's what I would do. But it is simply the most powerful technique there is, because bang, 20 seconds, bang, you're back up there. So that's your plan. Morning, 3-4 times a day. In life, we kind of float along and then something happens, right? Bill comes in, somebody says something, and then we drop and then we feel crap. When you feel crap, you do that exercise. Sometimes it's worthwhile, even if you're lying in bed and you wake up and you're like, oh no, I've got another day ahead of me. If you get out of bed feeling like that, your day is going to kind of unfold with this. It's going to create those kind of problems. Whereas if you're lying in bed and you're like, right, I need to change this, and you do that exercise, 20 seconds, jump out of bed, and you're feeling like, right, I'm in charge, right? I'm back in charge. And suddenly the spiritual, the universe goes, fantastic. If you're in charge and you're feeling strong and you're feeling excited, we can help you, because it means that the doors, the connection, are open to allow things to come in. If you get up and you're like, right, and you're like, the problems, you shut all these doors down and you get no help. And then life just gets worse, because there's no help that can come to you, because you've broken all the spiritual principles. That is the one exercise that can change everything, within 20 seconds. And even if you are feeling pretty good, you can take yourself up even more. And it's only because you can feel the difference between one thing and another, you can kind of go, I've got a choice. Now, do I want to feel like this, or do I want to feel like this? And that is self-empowered, control of my life. And down here, it's crap. It's a choice. And you can make that choice. I can make that choice. And anybody that's watching can make that choice.
Yeah, I definitely agree, because as you know, we are part of Tony Robbins' crew. We have been practicing law of attraction for over 10 years now. And I know the difference between just affirmation or incantation, as Tony Robbins would put it.
Yeah.
He also has this incantation, now I am the voice, I will lead, not follow, and all that stuff. And we also have his incantation during the morning. We have our family morning routine. It's an hour of power where we input everything that we know from different gurus. And we actually have implemented your 90-second technique that you have taught us. And we can actually incorporate this as well because we do have 2 incantations already in the morning. We could actually include this. But I want to just ask this, and I know that your view of self-empowerment might be different from here in the Philippines. Here, I think the concern is really more on we are too reliant because we are a Catholic country, I mean a Christian country. Sometimes you are too reliant on the spiritual world. It's not that we're saying that God can't help me, but what we're saying is that God can't help you if you're not helping yourself, right? But there
Exactly.
are a lot of people that they will just rather rely on God's help.
I'll tell you a very quick story. I can't remember who created this one or not, but it was just like an example of this God thing and help. So there was a guy, he was in the water, right? And he was drowning. So he says to God, save me, save me, save me, right? And he's expecting the clouds to open up and a hand to come down or something to be saved. And he's drowning. The guy comes along, guy's walking along the side of the water, says, do you need a hand? And he goes, no, I'm going to be saved. I'm going to be saved. And the guy walks away. So the guy's still drowning. And he's like, God, save me, save me. And this another person walks along and says, you look like you're in trouble. Can I help you? And the guy's like, no, God's going to save me. And the guy walked away. And the guy drowns, right? And he goes to heaven. And he's sitting there. And he says to God, why didn't you save me? And God said, I did. I sent you 2 people to save you. You never took their help. I sent people to save you, and you refused the help. And that's how a lot of people lead their lives. They expect this great miraculous thing to kind of come along, whereas all of the help that's being provided by God, the spiritual world, is there constantly. But people are too blinkered, they're too asleep, and they fail to see the answers. It might be the help that they've asked for might be in an advert on television. It might be a solution they read in a newspaper. It could be an old newspaper that they found on the ground from 5 years ago. It could be something that somebody said, right? That help's constantly being provided, but people fail to accept it because they think the clouds are going to open and this hand's going to come down or the big pot of gold's going to turn up. But the help's there, but people fail to see it. Excellent.
And anything else that you'd like to add to for today?
I just want people to go, right, okay, what do I do now? And I say, look, just to finish with, go and do the technique, try it exactly the way we said, give it a go, remember the round of applause, and then do it a second time, but put more passion into it. That's the most important thing you've ever said. My life, right? Like something that you really, really want, and you're taking it back, and do that immediately after this. If you fail to do that immediately after this, you'll probably never do it, because the way people work is they either want to take charge back of their lives, or they'll make an excuse and say, I'll do it tomorrow or later today or whatever. And they never do. And they'll carry on leading their lives, in this place down here. So I'd say, just to kind of finish off with, do this straight away. And if you do it straight away, it means that you are serious about being in charge of your life and self-empowerment. If you put it off for another day, you'll never do it. And you've given away the most fantastic opportunity to improve your life.
Awesome. Thank you once again, Coach Marc Wynn. And would you like to give them a preview of next week's topic? Because it's interesting. It's about getting more clients and about money, right?
Yes. So what I'm going to show you next week is, we touched on it there on this kind of like 5 and 1 rule. So what I'm going to show you is money and clients are the same thing, right? I'm going to talk to you about how to have more money and explain to you what money is in terms of its energetic form. And so rather than having to go and chase it, you'll have it come to you. And the funny thing is, once you start to get your head around this and you see it happening, it's like a flow of a river, and it comes in more and more and more. So for example, I keep finding people keep giving me money. And once you start to realize how this happens, so you can't really see this, but I'm going to be posting up on my group. But I applied for a grant because I'm building a new website. And so the government over here said, well, okay, asked, can we give you some money? And I said, well, that would be nice. I mean, I've got the money to pay for it. So they sent me an email saying, right, okay, we're going to pay you £3,613.50p, because I said that's how much the project was that I needed to kind of finish the project. So someone's actually just decided to kind of pay for my project for me. And this is what I'm saying, money will come to you in so many different ways, and people are very blinkered in terms of like, I have to have it this way. We'll talk about the guy drowning in the water. You'll be given money in multiple different ways. And this is what I'm going to show next week, is how all the different ways that money can come in, but how you can have it come to you instead of working hard.
Yay, so exciting. I'm super excited about that. I think a lot of people will be tuning in just to
Yes,
hear you say that. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So thank you once again, Coach Marc Wynn, and we'll see you next week.
Lovely. Brilliant. Thank you very much for your time. And everyone, do the exercise. Do it. Be in control of your life. Be empowered.
I'm JJ.
I'm Dan.
I'm Jock. I'm Jake.
And I'm Jamie.
And welcome to It's Time WoW!
Wisdom on Wednesdays.
Your weekly dose of wisdom.
So every Wednesday, we will invite wisdom-filled individuals that will share with us their expertise, competence, and experience that will help us gain more success, knowledge, and wisdom.
And we'll have these episodes ready and available on our YouTube channel for your future reference.
So get your fill of wisdom every Wednesday.
It's time!